episode of Boxing News today. And let's start off with the news swirling around Devin Haney. This courtesy of Robbie Bannatyne, who's writing in boxingnews24.com with respect to Devin deciding to give up some belts here. He says, in a predictable move, former undisputed lightweight champ Devin Haney will be vacating his remaining titles, 3 of them, at 135 to focus on becoming a 2-division world champion against WBC 140-pound champ Regis Prograis on December 9th. Then moving up to 147 to battle for one of the belts. As we all know, Haney is simply too big to return to the 135-pound division, and there's no one for him to fight that would bring him enough big enough payday to put his body through torture and training down to make weight. Devin's already been named fight. Devin has already named the fighter he wants to face at welterweight for one of the soon-to-be vacated or stripped titles, saying he wants to fight Keith Thurman. Obviously, Haney isn't going to tangle with the newly elevated IBF 147-pound champ Jaron Boots Ennis because he's not crazy. Haney is a risk taker, but he's not going to take a fight that he can't win. He's what you'd call a shrewd risk taker. That is to say, Haney is not an opportunist, hence he's targeting 34-year-old Prograis for his WBC 140-pound belt rather than messing with IBF champ Subriel Matias. Prograis looked awful recently, winning a 12-round split decision against second-tier fighter Danielito Zirilla last June. That will be a winnable fight for Haney, as the 35-year-old former WBA and WBC 147-pound champ Thurman, 30-1 by the way, 22 knockouts, will have been out of the ring for 2 years by the time of the fight and should be old and inactive enough for Devin to defeat him. Haney's record, by the way, 30-0, 15 knockouts, says there was no point in him returning to the lightweight division because his efforts to set up a fight with the superstar Gervonta Davis had come up empty, and there was only one fighter in that weight class that he wanted. I did everything at 135 that I could. The biggest fight for me was making that Gervonta Davis fight, and his side showed no interest in making the fight. I've outgrown the division, so now I make my quest to 140 to become 2-division champ against WBC light welterweight champ Regis Prograis on December 9th. It's surprising that Gervonta Davis' management team wasn't interested in putting together a fight with Haney, but perhaps they're going to continue to match their fighter tank against the same type of opposition they've always done to keep him safe so he can keep bringing in money. There you go. There's a good opinion out of Boxing News 24. All right, here we go. Speaking of Ryan Garcia, not really, but as a bit of a sidebar, Ryan Garcia is ready to bounce back from his recent loss when he takes on Oscar Duarte this Saturday night, as we all know, taking place at Toyota Center over in Houston, Texas. And this is creating quite a bit of a stir of headlines, shall we say. Garcia's 23-1. Says he's not bothered by his defeat against Davis last April because he wasn't as committed or as sharp for that fight as he is now, right? The weight stipulations, inactivity, and delay of the fight with Tank wound up undermining the 25-year-old Ryan. But is he really ready to dominate, recover from his mental health and all that kind of crap? Let's have a look at what this writer has to say. And this is Will Aarons writing on boxing247.com as well. Here we go. Let's see what he says. Garcia said, I lost myself. I lost who I was as a fighter. I couldn't even remember the things that I know how to do in the ring. Making that comeback, I felt a little rushed into it. I still had really bad habits from my mental health issues. I went into drinking a little bit and doing whatever I wanted. I lost the love for everything. I came back because I had to. I was wasting time, and time was ticking. I willed myself back into it, said Ryan. What Ryan should have done, says this writer, was listen to his promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, who wanted him to face Mercito Gesta in a tune-up fight to get him ready for the Gervonta clash, as he's been out of the ring for 9 months since his victory over Javier Fortuna in 2022. Ryan needed a solid opportune moment to prepare himself for Tank Davis, but he opted to jump straight into that clash without any warm-up, on top of the weight stipulations that the Baltimore natives handlers threw in to increase their chances of winning. to say, and I won't get into all that, but because I covered all that stuff way back in the day. To say that Ryan never stood a chance of winning is putting it mildly. The deck was stacked against him the moment he agreed to take the fight. I got back into it with Tago, and obviously that wasn't my best performance because I was still figuring things out. I started feeling my rhythm again when I fought Fortuna. I felt a little sharper. I still wasn't my sharpest, but I wanted to get into another fight. I wanted to fight Tank, and they iced me for a whole year. They kept saying, "You're going to fight. You're going to fight. If you take another fight, we can't fight you." They said it was going to take, until December. So a lot of that stuff was throwing me off. I took myself back to where I'd been my sharpest when I was at my best. I looked back at my younger days and I said, okay, I have to get back to that commitment. So I'm fully committed. I trained with Derek James regardless if there was a fight coming. I was with him in Vegas for the Spence fight. Let's go to then what Oscar De La Hoya is saying. Very recently, Oscar De La Hoya has reached out through social media to try and fix the broken relationship with his star, Ryan Garcia, who is fighting Saturday, as I just said, on a Golden Boy card in Houston. And Oscar's message was this: Bernard and I have spent decades putting on the biggest events in the sport, including Ryan's last fight, which generated $30 million. $30 million. Sorry, did not mean to say quid, for you English fans out there, for him. We build champions, help them navigate their careers to the top, and make them the highest paid fighters. Ryan, keep focused on your craft instead of listening to some of your team's interpretations of comments taken out of context. Bernard and I will remain committed to taking your career to the top. So, not that Oscar De La Hoya doesn't have his own issues to deal with, but here's another one thrown into the mix. The event between Garcia and Duarte is taking a bit of heavy lifting because Duarte is not exactly top level talent in the media these days. But that burden's taken on a bit heavier context now that Oscar's also said on Twitter that the co-feature between Ahra Davies and Ismael Barrasso is postponed due to visa issues. So now it's Floyd Schofield, who we've mentioned often on Talkin' Fight, versus Ricardo Torres will take its place in the lineup. As we all know, Davies is 25-2, 18 knockouts. Barrasso was at 24-4-2. They were set to square off for the interim WBA title, which would guarantee the winner a crack at the injured champ, Rolly Romero. Barrasso was famously on the wrong end of 2023's worst stoppage this past May after schooling Romero for much of the fight, while Davies looked nasty. His body shots to beat down Louis Rista in eliminators past May. Well, hopefully the powers that be can sort this out quickly because Barrasso deserves another shot at gold, and because it figures to be an entertaining scrap between Barrasso's southpaw slugging and Davis's awkward but powerful assault. Sure enough. Okay. Speaking of Texas, we've got a card coming up on December 15th. 7-bout card is coming to the University of Texas at Arlington's College Park Center on Friday, December 15th. Fans will witness 7 live fights headlined by super featherweight Kenneth Taylor, 13-2, versus Jorge Ramos, 8-4-1 in an 8-rounder. Then from Orlando, Florida, boxing and YouTube star Jake Paul will battle Texas's own Andre August, who's 11-1 on the College Park Center giant screen video boards. Check that out. Wow, check out this. Tickets are priced at $50, $75, and $100. Wow. Wow. Knockout Live, whoever they are, is offering a Cyber Week special with all tickets being 25% off. I guess they're not going that well. All right. I'm sorry. All right. Back to serious stuff here. Olympic bronze medalist Kariss Artingstall will fight on the Natasha Jonas-Michaela Mayer card on the undercard January 20th as she looks to propel herself into world title contention. Artingstall, 5-0, will box Lila dos Santos Furtado, 9-1, and heads into that contest off the back of a second-round knockout of Vanessa Bradford at London's York Hall back in October. The Brit who scooped a bronze medal in the featherweight division at the 2020 Tokyo Games, was the first fighter to stop former WBA World Super Featherweight title challenger Bradford. Artingstall won her first 4 fights as a pro on points, starting her career in the paid ranks with a victory over Vaida Maziokaita in June of 2022. The 29-year-old said of her destructive win against Bradford, "Of course I was happy with my performance. I did something no one else managed to do. I always come to hurt my opponents. To get the win is the most important thing, but to hurt my opponent and to make them quit, there's no better feeling." Wow, gotta love that. I think I had a great start to my journey as a professional fighter. I mean, it could be better, as I'd like a belt to my name, which is definitely the focus for 2024. Next year, I'd like to cement my place at the top of the division and challenge for those world titles. Jonas versus Mayer will headline the January 20th bill at M&S Bank Arena as the Brit, a 2-weight world champion, defends her IBF welterweight title against former unified super featherweight world champ Mayer. As we noted all last week, these female fighters are among the best, and I look forward to seeing them fight every day. Eddie Hearn's back in the news. Go figure. Promoter Eddie Hearn, courtesy of BoxingScene.com, is holding out hope that Kell Brook will give boxing another shot. The Matchroom had formally promoted Sheffield, England's Brook, who retired last year, not long after knocking out bitter rival Amir Khan in 6 rounds. But Brook, a career welterweight, had periodically hinted at a return to the ring, stressing that it would have been for the right opportunity. His name has been connected to active fighters such as Conor Benn. There's a reason he's, quite frankly, inactive at the moment, as well as Chris Eubank Jr. Maybe that would be a good fight. Brook has stated that he would only entertain a fight with Ben if the British Boxing Board of Control fully clears Ben of his 2 positive performance-enhancing drug tests from last year, which is being investigated, as we all know, and as I've reported ad infinitum. And it was reported that the BBBOC rejected Ben's application to box Eubank Jr. For a fight that was scheduled for early next year, reportedly at Tottenham Spurs Arena over in London, scheduled for February 3rd, but now that is not going to happen. So Eddie Hearn is looking for Conor Benn to fight several American fighters. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But as for Kell Brook, Hearn said he's been a little quiet, but the thing I'll tell you about Kell, you need to give him the time to prepare for a fight, and it's difficult to commit for a fight that's far out. If Kell needs 16 weeks or whatever it is to make 150, or more likely 154, you can get a fight agreed within that time frame. If February 3rd is Conor Benn, he wouldn't be ready for February 3rd, in my opinion, because it's only 9 weeks. So it's difficult for the guy who's been out of the ring for a while that needs that extra time to actually make the time frame work. I hope Kell fights again because he still has a lot he can offer. You saw it in that Amir Khan fight. I still like Conor Benn against Kell Brook. I don't know if he's in the gym. I hope we see him back. Brook was thrown into the tabloid limelight earlier this year when he was outed for snorting a substance that appeared to be cocaine in a video that went viral. Brook has apologized for his behavior. Wow, I did not know that. And that was courtesy of Sean Nam, who's also authored Murder on Federal Street, Tyrone Everett, The Black Mafia, and The Last Golden Age of Philadelphia Boxing. Probably someone who knows our very own Tim Witherspoon quite well. Anyway, I did not know that about Kell Brook. That was interesting. Good conclusion to that story, eh? All right. Speaking of concluding stories, I'm often yapping on about Deontay Wilder and his eggshell of a brain. And I've often suggested he should just simply quit, put his money into something interesting other than taking another fight. And it seems that he has taken my advice. According to ESPN, former WBC heavyweight boxing champ Deontay Wilder is part of a diverse investment group that has joined forces to buy the United States Sail GP team, the Global Sailing League said Wednesday. In addition to Wilder, who was WBC heavyweight champ from 2015 to 2020, the investor group also includes NFL players DeAndre Hopkins and Malik Johnson, and former U.S. soccer player who played for the Toronto Football Club, Jose Altidore, among others from the sporting, technology, and entertainment industries. The team was purchased by technology investor and founding Uber engineer Ryan McKillen, his wife Margaret McKillen, and two-time world champ sailor Mike Buckley. Now, if there's one sport I do not follow, it's sailing. But I would love to have been in the room when the pitch was made to Deontay Wilder for however many millions it took to get him involved in this. So just so you know, and just I guess so I know, the league in which national teams compete in identical high-performance F50 foiling catamarans at speed of 100 kilometers an hour, apparently, and was launched in 2019. So good for Deontay Wilder for investing his money, because that, quite frankly, after his next fight coming up shortly, allows him the opportunity to say his focus now after boxing is on sailing into the sunset. All right, boxing fans, thanks very much for joining me. Appreciate it. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll see you, Thursday. We'll see you later on at 4 p.m. for Mike Gore Show, Knuckle Up, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And then tomorrow morning, Friday morning, 11 a.m., I won't be available, but I will be available for the Friday night panel, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, with Lou Eisen, Mike Gore, and Tim Witherspoon himself, former two-time heavyweight champ of the world. All right. See you then.